same thing. This is a lower level than regular Truma that you would give to the Kohen.
Of course.
Yeah, this is not the same level of.
But you realize the Torah gave a tell, yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, then he continues. Now let's look now. Let's look now. Look at the Halachah Gimel, which you learned already in Yibamot. ישראלית שנישאת לכהן, אפילו קטנה בת 3 שנים ויום אחד, only if she's a minimum of years, תאכל בתרומה, וחזה ושוק. ודין תורה שתאכל מי שנתארסה, שהרי הוא קניינו. אבל אסרו חכמים שתאכל.
They made Xeda on that one. I think I looked at Kitubot.
Good morning, Larry. Eli is making today Brit Mila, so we're going to learn some interesting Brit Mila, but we are waiting till people walk in. So meantime, Mila had an interesting question. The Gemara says that if an Eved of a Kohen walks into a farm, the owner can give him the Truma. So in the question, they assume that he is a Shaliach of his master. So the question is, normally the rule is, En Shalichut LeGoy. So I told Eli, he's not taking it to deliver to his master. Because he's an Eved of a Kohen and he has his own right to eat. We just looked in the Rambam, the same as the Behemah. So when you give it to him, he can eat the Truma immediately. This is answer one. Answer number two, Eli, even if you say, which is not, he's a Shaliach, but some say that En Shalichut LeHakum is when you have to give him power. For instance,
we had the question with Abraham and
Eliezer.
And Eliezer. It came up.
Correct. We spoke about it. Yes. Yeah. So the answer is, if I'm giving Eli $1.50 to buy me the Times, is he my shaliach? Not really. I didn't give you any power. You realize? The Netivot HaMishpat says shlichut is defined by me giving over specific power that I have. I have the power to marry my wife, halachic power. I have the power to divorce my wife. I have the obligation to offer a korban so I can make you shaliach b'shlulim. Yes, I have the obligation to separate truma. So in neither of the four I can make a goy shaliach. Why? Because but the Netivot HaMishpat wants to say that on a regular maaseh, just a maaseh, so let's say in this case, right? Oh, maybe over there he has a mitzvah netina. Unless I'm saying the owner of the farm.
Oh, he has a mitzvah to give it.
If he has a mitzvah netina, yes.
Question is to see when did he fulfill his mitzvah?
Correct,
when the Eved gave it to his master, or he ate it? No, you're saying if he can eat it, so it knocks that out.
No, but the answer is by him eating it.
He fulfills his obligation.
Yes. Okay. Look a second Look a second in Rambam, Sefer Zraim Halachot Trumot Perek Zayin.
Okay.
I'm just showing you look at Halakha Perek Zayin Halakha Tetvav. Perek Zayin Halakha Tetvav. Cheret Halakha Tetvav. Cheret שוטה וקטן שקנו להם עבדים. Listen good now. Is a Kohen. But legally is not normal. Either or minor, אינם אוכלים.
But how could a cheresh and shota have the abik or a katan bikon as something?
Yeah, this is exactly the reason why they are not ochel b'truma, because legally what they purchased legally doesn't belong to them. In order for an eved to eat, he has to legally be owned by someone. If it's, see, the Rambam is very careful. See what the Rambam is not telling you is, did you learn it?
We did this today.
If the father is a Kohen, yes?
Right.
And he died. And he left a child under Bar Mitzvah, then the Eved can eat. Why? Because Yerusha is not
Oh,
a
wow.
kinyan that you have to do. You understand? If I buy an item, look a second, if I buy this Rambam, I have to make a kinyan, correct? If the Cheresh or Teve Katan are purchasing an Eved, they have to do a legal kinyan. They cannot. The Eved cannot eat. But if the father of the minor died, Yerusha doesn't require a kinyan.
Why can't we say that the father gives the evet to the katan? We know that a katan can accept a gift; he cannot give a gift. Like we're doing with the
You are correct anyway. Ila is saying that if you give a katan a lulav, some Rishonim said that if that acheret makna, it belongs to him midoraita. Remember, the father died. So
No, I'm saying he doesn't have to die. You could just give the evet to the katan if the katan can acquire a gift from the father.
Correct.
So
according to some Rishonim, but this is why the Rambam is very careful in saying shekanu lahem avadim, kanu. Kanu. If someone here, look at the next half a line of the Rambam. Aval im kanu lahem beidin. Here your case. If beidin who are in charge of protecting the property of the avadim, yes, if they bought it, או אפוטרופסים, או שנפלו להם בירושה, הרי אלו אוכלים ביחד.
Right.
And the reason is, because there's no need for kinyan. Now, if Beidin are makneh, the eved, to the minor, Ila is saying, it's called in the language of the halacha, dat acheret makna. The way it works is as follows, listen carefully. The way the Ksot HaChoshen explains is like this. Every kinyan has two parts. The physical act, lifting it. A minor can do it. He doesn't have the mind of a kinyan because he's not mature. Beidin, or a stranger who gives it to him, he is the mind. You understand? So the makneh, I am giving, the best example is, of course, by Sukkot. If an adult is giving a child, giving him, not lending him, a lulav, it's the same case.
Yeah.
The katan becomes the little owner of the lulav. The katan can never give it back.
No.
And the reason why the katan is koneh is because there is a full dad of the makneh.
Didn't you say Zachin Ladam Shalom B'fanav? Basically, also, someone gives you something, whether you're in a.
But this is only if the one that gets it has the ability to do a kinyan.
Right. Okay.
That's why the Gemara always said that actually did today. None of these people can you give to Rumat to.
Correct. Yeah, but you have a perfect.
Doesn't mean he can't eat it.
Look in Halachai with Zayin a second. Eved shel shutafim. The non-Jewish slave belongs to two partners. אחד מהם כהן, ואחד אינו כהן. אינו מאכיל. Why? Okay. You see, like this illustrates what we spoke before. Being the property of the Kohen legally gives the Eved the right to eat. Since half of the Eved belongs to a non-Kohen, you cannot eat. Okay, we are learning today some Halachot of Brit, Mila. You Joseph, take the big book there. In honor of Eli's son is making a Brit Mila today.
Actually, on that subject, today also you can't give it to an Avel. So there the Mishnah, I don't remember if the Mishnah says, but even though they're talking about the third child, the two of them passed away, now asur to him to have a Milah. So I thought that was a machloket, but what we did today, maybe it says it elsewhere, this person cannot be given to the mouth.
You mean Avel Shemetu Machmat Milah?
Yeah.
Right, we saw machloket Rashi. Rambam is posek l'halacha. Is considered a right. Look at that. Okay, so we said it's a machloket rishonim. Rabbeinu Tam disagrees with Rashi, but the Rambam agrees with Rashi. Please open Siman Reish Samachet. Yeah, you have the book right there. Look, they give it to me. I'll give you this.
Okay.
We're learning the Halachot Brit Mila. And in honor of Mila, is making the Brit Mila today. Look a second. Hamal, the Mohel today, Mevarech. Hamal Mevarech asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al hamilah.
Where it is, where are you in Orach Chaim 265?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. Yored 265.
I thought, okay. Sorry, Rabbi Prab.
This is not the Orach Chaim. Orach Chaim is a regular mitzvot that apply to everyone. The Brit is like miscellaneous. Yored has a lot of Hamal Mevarech asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al hamilah. Now this is, remember, this the bold print is the Shulchan Aruch. ואבי הבן מברך בין חתיכת העולה לבריאה אשר קדישנו במצוותיו וציוונו להכניסו בבריתו של אברהם אבינו. See, the Shulchan Aruch and the Sfaradim are not following it. Ashkenazim is a lot of Ashkenazim follow this. He says, first the Moel makes the bracha and then the father makes the bracha. In the Sephardic community, they do the opposite. Eli's son is going to say the second beracha first. Pay attention to the Eli. Your son says, "Asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lachniso," and right after, yes, the Moel does it. And the reason is because you have a machloket. You have a machloket here. Look at Siman Reis Samachay. Is a machloket if birkat להכניסו בבריתו, אלא is birkat המצוות or birkat השבח. Right? We saw it once. Yeah? If it's birkat hamitzvot, you have to recite it before you make the Brit Mila. If it's birkat hashevach, you do after. So this is one of the famous cases. The Sfaradim are making להכניסו first, then al hamilah, and Ashkenazim are doing it the way it's written.
So it's Sheva, according to Ashkenazim.
Now, here in Israel, if you remember in the beginning of the war, I'm sure it happens now also, the father is drafted to the army. He's not making it to Brit Mila. The Brit Mila is taking place on the 8th day, even though the father is not there. Who is making the bracha l'achniso? Yes? Look at the Rama. Ve'im ein avi haben אצל המילה, if the father is not there, יש מי שאומר, listen carefully, שהאדם אחר מברך ברכה זו, מדוע? שהרי הבית דין מצווים למולו. You hear what the Rambam is saying? If the father, okay, today the father not being is drafted in the army, can pick up the phone and appoint the Shaliach. But let's say in the olden times the father is not there. The obligation now for the Brit is in the community. So each one of the community that would recite the bracha l'achniso is part of the chiyuv, yes? You know what he says again? יש מי שאומר שהאדם אחר מברך ברכה זו שהרי הבדים מצווים למולו ונוהגים שמי שתופס הנער מברך ברכה זו. The sandak says the Rama, באמת the Rambam says everyone can, again if the father is not present, everyone can do it. The minhag is that the sandak, he says further, look, וכן אם האב וכאן ואינו יודע לברך, and you imagine the father cannot say the bracha, okay? Then he continues, we do it today, look further. האב והמוהר, כשמברכים, צריכים לעמוד. האב והמוהר, כשמברכים, this morning, when you put your talet, you stand. על ספירת העומר, you stand. Every ברכת המצוות, you stand. Yes? האב והמוהר, כשמברכים, צריכים לעמוד. This is טור בית יוסף.
Can I ask a question? Sometimes when, Rabbi Prague, sometimes when we're learning Mal, and I'm not criticizing, I don't know, Mal, when he puts on tefillin, I notice that he sits. I assume that's a Sfar.
Everyone in this shul, is including me. If I pray inside, I sit also because I cannot be different than them.
Yeah,
Today,
but what's the rationale behind it?
it's only Al Pi Kabbalah. Halachically, you have to
Because
be
you just said if it's a mitzvah, you understand.
even the Sfaradim when they
Why, Larry, you stand up, Larry, when you do it?
Yeah.
all the Ashkenazim stand. All the Ashkenazim stand.
Yeah, the Ashkenazim do it correctly, and unfortunately, you guys don't.
This morning,
Wow, Larry, that's powerful.
in here, in this room, I was alone. This is why I was standing. Aval התופס הנער, the one that is the סנדק, כשמברך, נוהגים שיושב ומברך. אוקיי? ויש אומרים, and this is Sephardic and Ashkenazi custom, שכל העם שהם אצל המילה, everyone today invited to the ברית מילה, יעמדו, שנאמר, ויעמוד העם בברית. Of course, the Pasuk is not talking about the Brit Mila, but the Pasuk is talking about Yeshua making a covenant with the people, and everyone is standing. This Brit Mila is a covenant, yes?
Yeah, but the Brit, it's interesting. The Brit Ben Bitarim, I think Abraham is sleeping actually, no?
Because the immense וכן נוהגים that everyone is standing, מלבד התופס הנער בסנדק, שהוא יושב. Now, this is also fascinating. I listen to this, it's fascinating. ואם אחרים עומדים שם, every brit מילה, we prefer, if you can, have 10 people, ואם אחרים עומדים שם, אומרים, כשם שהכנסתו לברית, כן תכניסהו לתורה, לחופה ולמעשים טובים. Right, this is what you say.
Yes.
כשם שהכנסתו, who are they talking to? They're talking to Eli's son. If you look in the Shach, where is it? The other Rishonim are saying, and the Ashkenazim are saying, look at the Turei Zahav. You see on by you the top right, Bet.
Yep.
You have the Taz there. כשם שהכנסתו, כך היא הנוסחה ברמב"ם. וטור. So הכנסתו is talking about the father, yes? אבל בגמרא, הנוסחה, כשם שנכנס לברית. So here, this is also one of the differences between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim. Sfaradim say, כשם שהכנסתו, the Rambam says it, the two says it. Which means what? We are blessing the father, כשם שהכנסתו לברית, the same way to fulfill this first mitzvah that you have by your son, כן תכניסהו לתורה, which means בר mitzvah, לחופה, it's also an obligation of the father, ולמעשים טובים. This Ashkenazim follow the text in the Gemara, and the Gemara is saying, כשם שנכנס לברית. We are blessing the child.
They say Shenichnas also. I'm not sure. I'm gonna get us to do it.
So no, wait.
Yeah, we have enough to do it.
No, we don't have yet. We don't have any.
Check
Right down the bottom.
over there, the white ones are not to do it.
No, that's Shabbat. Oh, wait, there's one.
But you see, Jack, you said it hundreds of times.
I know, but it's
Including-
it's a one-letter difference. Nichnas and
I know, also since everyone is saying this, you never pay attention.
Right.
It's like something you remember what you say, Sfaradim, he said the things that Sfaradim say also. Hashem Sheikh Nasto. But you understand the difference is, Joseph, are we blessing the father or the son? If you say Hashem Shenichnas Labri, it means here, this is your first mitzvah you fulfill as a
Right.
before Jack comes, this is interesting.
But the child is not major, so it's not.
Well, no, right, no, but what you're saying to him, this is as a Jew, this is the first mitzvah you fulfill. So we are wishing you.
Beautiful blessing.
No, it's a nice blessing to both. Any way you do it, the father or the son. And then continue the Shulchan Aruch a second. Go back to the Shulchan Aruch. ואבי הבן או המוהל או אחד מהעם מברך על הכוס בורא פרי הגפן. Yes? Here is another Larry, a third difference between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim by a Brit. ויש נוהגים ליטול הדס בידו ומברך עליו ולהריח. Yes? So by the Sfaradim, so check the Siddur.
Magen Abraham?
No, I'm sure. No. It's a cost. No, not only this, if the Shulchan Aruch says it. Now you hear this? By Sfaradim today, after the Brit, whoever says Borei Pri HaGefen, then you say Besamim right after. They do exactly the same by a wedding. Ashkenazim don't make a bracha. Of course, the Shulchan Aruch is taking it for the Rambam. So of course, even if there's no besamim or there's no wine, you make the brachot anyway. But the wine is the same as Kiddush and Havdalah, the same as Birkat Hamazon. You make a major bracha. It's nice if you recite it on a cup.
It's not to say a kiddush. Now it's almost me'akev that you have something. Brit Mila, you don't have. There's nothing me'akev. You just do the Mila plain and
Good. Say, but by Brit Mila, you can say the regular berachot after, even if you don't have wine. Yes. So remember, so after you say Borei Pri HaGefen, then you say Besamim, and then you continue. This is once we looked at the Gemara in Shabbat. What?
Besamim.
Wine.
Yeah.
Yes, and wine.
I don't know the Rambam saying they're both the same thing. Mila is asking, David is asking, why do we say Besamim? No, but the Rambam says you're asking why. I don't know why. The same question you have on a wedding.
Right.
I mean, if you ask me, of course, this is not the reason, but you ask me, this way, less people feel insulted, you know. Very often you have two grandparents, you have two old uncles.
I asked why we say Besamim.
Oh.
And I'll tell you more than that if you really want to know. Let's say you invite a grandfather. I went few times. You invite a grandfather to make the next bracha. It's a long bracha. It's not familiar.
Yeah.
Besamim, everyone knows because you say it once, so we say, grandfather, pay attention, and you see that most weddings who gets Besamim, a grandfather, an old man, this way.
They're all included.
What did Jack call? Jack had twins?
No,
No.
yeah, two children had boys.
Two different children, and they did the Mila together.
Well,
We'll
not
see,
together, but they were.
we'll see in a minute what you do in a minute. Yeah.
Rabbi Prague, you said something about Kiddush here, that if you don't have wine, you still make the bracha?
No, I said by Brit Mila, if you don't have wine, you'll make the berachot asher Kiddush Yedid without wine.
Oh, without wine.
Like Kiddush Friday night, if you don't have wine, you have to say Kiddush
On
and
Sunday.
bread.
Right, okay, I want to make sure I misunderstood.
Being recited. Look further.
I'm not clear, Rabbi. I'm not clear. So you would not make wine. You would make a better. Tell me about the bris part, about the wine.
Brit Milah, if there's no wine, the
No
regular
wine.
are being recited as if there's never need for wine. The same is by wedding. If there's no wine or beer, the wedding goes on, and the rabbi, instead of starting Baruch Atah Borei Pri HaGefen, he starts the second beracha.
So why do we use the wine? Does that elevate?
Milah, if there's no wine or beer, the process continues because it's not me'akev. Unlike Friday night's Kiddush, that you must have the wine or bread. He continues. Okay, listen, today, if wine is not available, you can have beer. But if you're talking about small communities and not the world we live today, he has to talk about it. ואומר ברוך אתה השם אלוקינו מלך העולם, שקידש ידיד מבטן, which is יצחק אבינו, ונוהגים, כשמגיע לבדמי חיים, if you pay attention today, whoever makes the bracha, the Moel takes a little bit of the wine, puts it in the mouth of the baby.
Yeah.
ונוהגים כשמגיע לבדמי חיי, why? Now listen carefully, what does it mean? Listen carefully. read the bracha, you have the bracha, read it. בגלל שם השם. אשר כדאי שידיד מבטן.
Is it Kiddush or Kiddush?
We say Kiddush.
We say Kiddush.
They say Kiddush, okay.
אשר קידש ידיד מבטן וחוק
קידש ידיד מבטן is יצחק אבינו. Because ברית מילה began by אברהם. וחוק בשערו שם, this is אברהם, yes.
וצאצאיו
חתם בעוד ברית קודש, all the descendants have to be stamped, so to say. בעוד ברית קודש, יש.
על כן בשכר זאת אל חי חלקנו סורנו.
על כן, now we are, this is a blessing. בשכר זאת, in the reward, this baby had the ברית of אברהם, and יצחק.
צווה להציל ידידות זרע קודש שהראינו משחר.
צווה להציל ידידות זרע הקודש שהראינו משחר. השם give health and happiness to the baby. Continue.
למען בריתו אשר שם
למען בריתו, because the baby just had the ברית מילה, yes.
אשר שם בבשרנו.
Yes.
ברוך אתה השם קורא את הברית.
קורא את הברית. כן.
אדון ישראל אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו.
Yeah, continue. קיים את יד לאביו ולאמו ויקרא שמו בישראל. whatever the name is, yes.
ישמח האיש כי ביוצאו חלציו.
ישמח האיש, the father should be happy ביוצא חלציו ויישא ותגל עמו.
ותגל האישה
בפרי בטנה. האישה, אם תגל האישה בפרי בטנה, the mother should be happy, yes.
כאמור ישמח אביך ואימך.
So now you quote the pasuk, ישמח אביך ואימך ותגל יולדתך. ואומר לך, ונאמר,
ואעבור עלייך ואראך.
Listen to the pasuk, ונאמר, ואעבור עלייך ואראך, מתבוססת בדמייך, בדמייך חיי, ואומר לך,
בדמייך חיי.
Listen carefully what it means. When do we say this pasuk, guys?
Pesach.
Pesach.
Yeah.
Hashem says to the Jewish people, ואעבור עלייך, I didn't see any mitzvot. ואראך מתבוססת, wallowing, בדמייך, double. One is Brit Mila, they had that night. The other one is Korban Pesach. So now look at the Shulchan Aruch here. The Noagim, pay attention today. כשמגיע לבדמייך חיי, נותן מהיין באצבעו, לפי התינוק. Why is that? Because here the תינוק, right now, spilled some of his blood, בדמייך חיי. This is the zechut to have a healthy and a happy year. מה זה דבר מאוד מעניין. Listen to something fascinating. A priest came once to Rabbi Yonatan Abishis, here, and the priest, and he says to him, I have a proof from your Siddur that there is another God besides the Jewish God. He said, well, says you say every day in the Amidah, Baruch Ata Hashem, Rofe Chole, Amo Yisrael. Says the priest, I see that the non-Jews are being cured also. So obviously there is another God. You said that God is curing Jewish. On the spot, yeah. So say Eli remember, says the American Abishit, the Gemara in Megillah says, how come Refaenu, if you count, is the 8th bracha? Says the Gemara, because every day you have Jewish kids who are having the Brit Mila, and the Brit Mila is an operation. So Rofeh Chole Amo Yisrael is referring to Jewish babies. Baruch Ata Hashem, Rofeh Chole, every Chole, especially the babies. He says to the priest, the reason why we say Chole Amo Yisrael is because the Goyim are not obligated to have a Brit Milah, only Jewish babies. So this is why the Baracha is Rofeh Chole Amo Yisrael, even though it's Rofeh of everyone, but this particular Baracha focuses on Jewish babies. When he left, the students told him, it's a good answer, but give us a better answer. Which means every time you have to explain something to someone, you have to talk on his level.
Sure.
So he says, look, every time you come out of the bathroom, you say, Baruch Ata Hashem Rofeh Kol Basa. Kol Basa.
This for the whole world.
So now you have a question. How come by Asher Yatzar you say Kol Basar?
Here you say that.
It says this is his language. His language was Hashem is a general doctor of every human being. It is a private doctor of the Jews. This is why in Asher Yatzar you say Rofe Kol Basar.
Also, now you're going to tell me we invented concierge medicine?
No, but what it really means, I mean, you
Hey,
realize
it's a very good shot, actually.
I'll tell you why it's a very good shot.
It's beautiful.
Sometimes you visit a sick man and you like to leave him holding on to something. I said it a few times, and you're telling the person you have a private doctor standing by. This is Rofei Cholei Amo Yisrael. Now, look a second. So we have three differences between Sephardic and Ashkenazi. The Sfaradim today, the father says the Achniso first. Then the Moel says Ala Mila. Ashkenazim do it reverse. Means we do it in the Shulchan Aruch. The second difference is the Besamim. And the third is very interesting. Here is the third. The third is the Shulchan Aruch says, if you say Shechianu, look at Seif Zayin. Raise some Seif Zayin. Says the Shulchan Aruch, כשהאב עצמו מוהל את בנו, הוא מברך שהחיינו. ואם המוהל הוא אחר, like in today's Brit Mila, it's not the father of the baby, it's Rabbi Eskava, יש אומרים אין שם שם ברכת שהחיינו. Now, why is the Sfaradim always making שהחיינו? Here. Ula Rambam. Thank you. Ula Rambam. לעולם האב מברך שהחיינו על כל מילה ומילה, וכן נהגו בכל מלכות ארץ ישראל וסוריה וסביבותיה מלכות מצרים. This says the Shulchan Aruch. The Rambam says that every father by every Brit Milah says it, and the Rambam says this is the custom: Israel, Syria, and Egypt. Look at the Rama. ובמדינות אלו, the Rama was in Europe, says in our countries, נהגו שלא לברך שהחיינו, אפילו כשהאב עצמו מר את בנו. Even if the father is the moel, obviously it's a machloket in the Rishonim, yes?
That's because of Sa'ar.
This is one of the reasons.
Ashkenazim now don't say Shechianu.
Yeah, all the Ashkenazim from Yerushalayim do like the Sfaradim. When I had 4 sons, so by the first one I didn't know that Ashkenazim don't make it here. So I did say, and Rabbi Zimmerman was the Moel, says to me afterwards, says to me, he was not the Moel, he was there, says to me, next time don't do it. Okay, but this is it, this is the machloket. If you look here on the bottom, the Gra of Vilna has a long discussion on it. And in Yerushalayim, they follow very often the minhagim, the minhagim of the Gra. What's the logic of the Rambam? So look in Biur HaGra, just look at I'm looking. It says Biur HaGra on the bottom, you have Ot Lamed Hey. You see Lamed Hey, Biur HaGra, Ule HaRambam. It says, the Shlucho Kemoto, Ve'alav HaMitzvah. So the Rambam is saying, what is the difference if the father is a Moel or not? If the Moel is a Shaliach, and today you see Rabbi Eskava gives your son, says to your son right before the Brit Milah, appoint me to be a Shaliach. Says the Gra, if the father is a Moel, he has to say Shechianu, even if he's not the Moel, he's appointing them. And then he goes into discussion, yes? Is the Moel Mamash a Shaliach or not? It's really a fascinating.
What's taught us it doesn't have to. The Mohel doesn't. If the father's there, the Mohel doesn't really have to be a Shaliach.
All right. We said that. Look a second in Sifar. Go to Reis Samachay Sifar. I'm sorry, not Reis Samachay. I'm sorry. Reis Samachalef. Reish Samachal, 261. Reish Samachal, it's right after it. Says Shulchan Aruch, אם לא מר אהב את בנו, right? חייבים בית דין למולו. Here, the community. So what we said was the Moel is part of the community.
So he has a chiyuv. He doesn't
He
have
has
to
his
be a
own
shaliyah.
chiyuv, even
The father's not doing it. He has a
Look,
chiyuv.
hear what he says? So the Moel is part of the community. Why is it important? Mila, in a minute. ואם לא מלאו בית דין, if the בית דין didn't do it, חייב הוא כשיגדיל למול את עצמו. Now, listen to something fascinating.
But wait a minute, if I'm missing what you said about if the
If the father didn't do it, the community has to make sure. If they didn't, I mean, a good example, the parents that say unaffiliated, the kid is bar mitzvah, he has his own chiyuv. Okay, if you remember, let's look now.
And that's when the karet kicks in. It doesn't kick in until he turns 13.
Right, but listen to this. Listen to this. Look at the Rama. Okay, I'll read the entire Rama. ובכל יום עוברים בעונשים אלו, so it's a מחלוקת רמב"ם ורעב"ד. He goes like the רעב"ד and the two. ואין מעלים בנו של אדם שלא מדעתו. We cannot circumcise a baby without the father's consent. אלא אם כן עבר רעב ולא מלאו. If the father knowingly, willingly is not, the community will do it. בדין מעלים אותו בעל כורחו. Of course, in today's day and age.
What if the father's a secular guy and we can't get in touch with him, so we don't know if we have permission or not. We don't know what he would have done. Do we postpone until we get in touch with him?
We have to postpone it. You have to postpone it.
Wow.
Really?
Now,
What if you can't find them?
in today's day and age, the question is he going to take the Moel to court or not? I mean, you have today many people, traditional Jews, and of course you make a big enough for that. You really have to,
So you
have to speak to people. If you do it in Israel, many will take you to court.
You see, like a scary thing, unfortunately, to mention. Let's say
but most Israelis say, fine, of course you make a big enough. But there was extreme leftists, they say, oh, no.
You know, like it's unfortunately, let's say in some of the would seem, let's say, unfortunately, the parents were murdered or something.
Right.
They have this child here. The children with the parents are secular.
If the parents are totally not religious and they're not alive, then you'll do it assuming, unless you know that the parents
would have been against it.
Yeah, but most Israelis, regardless
Whoever
if
the
you are
guardian of the child, does it go there? If the parents aren't alive, does it go to the next, like to the guardian?
Unfortunately, by many people doing the Brit Mila is like interfering. I mean, into this crazy world.
Yeah.
Interfering is. Look, I mean, we look at it as the same. If your wife or you did not vaccinate your kids, the state will take you to jail. But it's my son. No. We are telling you what's important to your son. This is the way you look at the Brit Mila, from a religious point of view. Look further. ואין האישה חייבת לעמול על בנה. Now listen to this here, this is why. האב שאינו יודע לעמול. ויש כאן מוהל, listen, שאינו רוצה לעמול בחינם רק בשכר. It is the father doesn't, and the מוהל says $500. Listen. יש לבית דין לגעור במוהל. בית דין ילדים. You are the only one that can do it. Do it. כי אין זה דרכן של זרע אברהם. This is not the Jewish way of I'm not doing it unless. ואדרבה, המוהלים מהדרים. Every Brit Mila I made to my son and I asked him well afterwards, how much you are? He said, only nothing. They say, I know I do nothing, but tell me what's the accepted. Right. So if you ask, okay. This every time, but he didn't mean it. No one talks about money.
Well, I thought that they were very humble.
Right? No, it's based on that.
Oh, so they never say that, oh.
No, they never. So look further. Listen to this. אדרבה, המועלים מהדרים שיתנו להם למול, the מועלים are looking for an opportunity to make ברית מילה for them, it's a זכות לקחת. Abraham, if you give him money, he takes it for charity or whatever. Look further. ואם עומד במרדו, but the מועל says, רבותיי, you want me to make the ברית? $500. Listen to this. ואין יד האיש משגת לתת לו שכרו. And the father of the baby doesn't have the money. Listen to this. הווה כמי שאין לו אב, שבית דין חייבים למולו, ולכן בית דין כופים אותו. בית דין would force the מועל to do the ברית. Why?
They didn't want to do it.
But this is the reason why your obligation, the moel, is the same as me. You understand? If the father appoints him, okay, so he can say, I want to be paid. Here, the father says,
What happens? I don't want to pay, but Rabbi, I don't want to pay the mohel. I don't want to pay him. He has an obligation. I don't want to pay him. Can he take me to Bet Din for the money?
If when you call the moel told you my fee is $700, so it's the same as a plumber coming to your house, and you have to force him to pay. But normally you never speak about the money before. If you don't speak about the money
You
before,
never speak about the money. You never speak about the money. And he gives you a fee that you don't expect. He tells you $3,000, Rabbi. He gives you $5,000.
But you see, here the moel says, I'm not doing it unless I pay.
Is there a fair market price, Rabbi? Is there a fair market, like 20% over retail? You told me if you charge more than 20%, I can take you to Bet Din in the store. Is there a fair market? I'm the only mohel in town. Give me $10,000 to do it.
No, but you have to realize, let's say, I read once, a fellow was a chaplain in the American army. The moel had to take a plane to come to make the brit. The moel had to take a days off. Most moelim have a regular job. In the morning, this extra income. But everything had to take a day or two. If you read
One thing
that,
not to pay somebody, it's another thing that he has to take a loss.
Right,
There could be
right,
different
right,
rules,
right,
you know.
but I'm saying it makes sense to understand. In a case like this, you're telling him in advance, listen, come, I'll pay you for the fare, the airfare, I'll pay you for the. Or sometimes you have to, all the time, you have to drive 2, 3, 4 hours to. Anyway, Mabruk, Bezrat Hashem.
Eli has a bris, Eli?
Today, Eli is making it.
Eli, Mabruk, Eli. All the best.
What?
No,
No, we would force it because we tell them, it's our obligation, the same as yours.